Hi, welcome to Prepare for AI. Do you have the data? I am Paulo Robles. I'm your host today. I'm the technical director for Bscape Labs, and we're excited because we think that data is the foundation for every successful AI initiative, and we'll show you how and why. I'm pleased to introduce our two guests for today: Tyler Mondina, solutions architect for IBM Watsonx at TD Synnex, and David Avila, who is also a solutions architect in IBM Watsonx, and also at TD Synnex. And there's perspective in data. It's important for us as partners with TD Synnex because we can collaborate and introduce new information to our clients on how to prepare for data. A little bit of housekeeping. We'll be together for about 45 minutes. You can post questions in the chat at any time. Our team will respond live. This session will be recorded and will be sent to you once the webinar is finished. And we'll keep an eye on the chat for you guys to make sure that you get the answers that you're looking for. Our agenda is pretty simple. Why data is a foundation for AI, the three pillars of data readiness, our guest insights from Taylor and David, and a roadmap on how you can progress through data maturity stages. And we will share some tools and immediate steps you can take within your organization to understand how your data is and how can you prepare for AI. So as I said, my name is Paulo Robles. I've been in the industry for over 22 years. I specialize in AI, DevOps, development, and data management. I've been in the industry, as I said, for 20 some years, and I've been a technical director for almost 5 years now. Tyler Mondina, can you introduce yourself real quick?
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Taylor Mondina. I'm a solution architect here at TD Synnex, specifically for the Watsonx platform. So for Watsonx.data and Cloud Pak for Data is my specialty. On
Thank
to
you.
David.
David Avila.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. So my name is David Avila. I'm one of the Watsonx architects here at TD Synnex. My focus is on AI ops and FinOps like Turbonomic and Sana Apptio, but we also support the Watsonx AI and data platform as well.
Thank you. Let's dive into the subject, guys. What do you think?
Let's do it.
So why data is the foundation for AI? And I would like to start this conversation with a simple truth. Most AI projects don't fail because of the algorithms that we implement. They fail because of the data. And we've seen this in all type of organizations. They rush into AI, they spin up pilots, they buy in tools, they announce bold initiatives, but underneath, the data foundation is not there. And the most common risk we see is siloed data, where the data is scattered across the organization. The data doesn't have enough quality, so it is inconsistent across the board. It's incomplete or is outdated, or it takes a lot of time for you to refresh. Let's say you have a monthly report of sales instead of a weekly report of sales. And there's the third problem that we see is inaccessible data. Data that only a certain group within your organization can see or can report on. So it's locked behind permissions. It has legacy platforms that only one engineer knows how to handle, or it's really, really slow in the process for AI. So with those, when those risks exist, even the smartest module will struggle to get you a good response. So it's a typical garbage in, garbage out. So Tyler, from your perspective and the work that you've done with clients, do you see these same issues across the board? Where do organizations struggle the most? Silos, quality, or access?
Yeah, so you can definitely see all three of these issues across many different organizations. And that struggle really tends to vary where they are at in their maturity of their data strategy. But
Hmm.
silos are really often the biggest hurdles. So data is really scattered across many different systems. It's on-prem, it's in the cloud, hybrid environments, just making it hard to have a unified view of your data.
Yeah,
And then, even if you have the right tools, um, there's the lack of governance or integration, making it hard for that data to be accessible and usable
that's
for analysis. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And we've seen this time and time again. Most of the times, we suggest to have a centralized data warehouse. So if they want to keep the data, the source of data segregated, get it together at least for the AI implementation. Sometimes that's the best option, because you standardize not just the type, the data type and the cleanliness and the quality of it, but you have a central point of access, so AI knows where to look for it. So, David, from your standpoint, how do these challenges manifest when the enterprise attempt to scale AI? Do you see data readiness break down most often? Where do you see it?
Yeah, so from an architectural standpoint, data silos, poor quality, and inaccessible data severely hinder enterprises' ability to scale AI by fragmenting the data landscape and impeding the creation of unified, high-quality data assets.
Hmm.
Those are essential for training robust models. The data silos often result from disparate systems across departments that lack integration, and this makes difficult to aggregate and harmonize that data for AI use. Along with that, the poor quality, such as inconsistent formats, missing values, and outdated records, those
Hmm.
undermine model accuracy and reliability as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
While inaccessible data, whether due to legacy systems, lack of APIs, or governance restrictions, as mentioned before, limit the scope of that scalability for those AI initiatives.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, those are great insights, guys. Um, and they highlight what the challenges are. That the challenges are both organizational and technical, right? So if you have a silo database, you probably have a silo team. Somebody is working on this, and another team is working on that, and they don't communicate. So if they don't communicate, they don't know which data each team has. So that's a typical problem that we see. So what do you think is a good data? Um, well, let me rephrase that. So what does good data readiness look like? Is the next question that we're going to answer. So let's break it down into three pillars. So we have quality. We already talked about quality, and we have accessibility, and we have integration. And I think that those words are going to be repeated along the way of this webinar, because we do believe that this is the core of a good data readiness for AI. So, what is quality? You need to ask yourself, is my data accurate? Is my data complete? Is my data reliable? So these gaps can be mitigated by avoiding duplication or inconsistent data, and because if we don't attack those problems, then those problems will be dragged into the model performance. For example, we saw this in a retail client, which had a product catalog that was outdated, and the entries was on the SKUs were mismatched. So after they cleaned up their data, and data set was complete, was reliable, and was accurate, then they started to be accurate on their demand forecast, and their forecast improved dramatically just by fixing that table. So, Tyler, when you're working with clients, how do data quality when you see issues with the data quality, how do they show up? What's one of the first steps that teams can take to start fixing those quality issues?
Okay. Yeah. So data quality issues really show up in like all kinds of areas, and sometimes they're not really obvious. You might see it in like an inconsistent reporting across departments or on the dashboards that don't match up with what the teams are seeing on the ground. But if you're looking at the data from the source, it's going to be those duplicated records, that outdated information, and then
Mhm.
missing context. And I would recommend one practical step is to establish a good data profiling process. That
Mhm.
way that you can assess quality, consistency, and readiness for data analytics. So
Yeah.
really, data profiling helps you examine the quality of the attributes, such as correct data types, the value distributions, null null values, or just outliers that are recorded. So this
Yeah.
process really helps you identify and create a standard for the data that is used in your analysis.
Yeah. And we see a lot of clients who have an Excel spreadsheet that wants to transform that into a database to be utilized by X or Y AI process. And once you have an Excel file that you need to transform to SQL, you bring in a lot of inconsistency in in the data type, in the field type,
Hmm.
in the field length, and in some cases even null values that the SQL doesn't recognize, so there's going to be null on your import. So yeah, I can see how that profiling can help improve their data quality all the way to implementing AI. So in accessibility can you need to ask yourself, can the right people get to the data, and can they do it at the right time? I don't need bottlenecks when talking about AI. Bottlenecks will just hinder your process. So we do know, and we do emphasize on governance and security because it does matter, but also speed matters when we talk about AI implementation. So, for example, financial services. There was a client who stored transaction in a secured environment. The analysis team had to wait days for manual approvals to come through. So that reduced the amount of responses that the AI could provide because they needed access every time they run their AI. So when they streamlined their access with governance, they cut the analysis time from weeks to hours. Meaning, AI talked to another AI and asking, "Hey, I'm asking for this report. Can you give me access?" The other portion of agentic AI took care of that, providing access to a previous request, and then move forward to getting the information. So this way, when you make it accessible, you can implement governance. Don't get me wrong; you need to implement governance, but when you streamline your process, the accessibility improves. So the accessibility gives you the right data at the right time, and improves the response of your models. So David, how do you connect accessibility with governance in practice, especially in regulated industries? What helps teams move fast while staying compliant?
So accessibility and governance can go hand in hand. They are connected through automated policy-driven systems that allow secure, compliant, and efficient access to that data. So as you mentioned earlier, so the right people can have access to the data at the right time.
Mhm,
The key to moving fast is embedding governance into those
mhm,
workflows, not treating it as a separate or after the fact process, so to speak.
mhm. Yeah, 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 I agree. And we will have another webinar in the future about governance. So stay tuned, where we talk specifically on governance on different levels, on different industries, and especially in the regulatory industries where it's more prominent. So let's talk now about integration. The question that you need to ask yourself in integrations is, are the system connected so the AI implementation can see the whole picture? When marketing, sales, and operations sits in a separate tool set, AI delivers a partial answer. So an example is a logistic company. They implemented AI to optimize their routes. The problem that they had is that they had integration, location, and traffic in one system, and the performance data and efficiency was in a different system. And those three systems were not talking to each other. So they had to ask for that information every few weeks, and then import that into a different database. So what we did with them is integrate those three systems, the data from those three systems, into a one single point of truth, source of truth. And with that, we increased the efficiency of the AI, and it delivered the full picture. So you need to run for the X amount of miles, and this is the optimized route, and these are the charging ports for the gas stations that you need to go to avoid over expenditure on your route. So with this type of integration, what we need to do is figure out what data is relevant, which system has that data, and how can we make the data and the integration available for AI to be able to consume it. So, Tyler and Duncan, integration is always tough. Um, so, Tyler, how are you seeing organizations approach integrations today?
Yeah, so a modern approach or modern approach to data integration would be a data fabric architecture.
Mhm.
So a data fabric definition is it's an architectural approach that simplifies your data access in an organization and facilitates self-service data consumption. So unlike traditional integration approaches where it's solely focused on the data pipelines and manual stitching of all of them together, Data Fabric will use automation, AI, active metadata to dynamically discover, connect, and deliver the data where it's needed. So it's not just about that movement of data, but it's about that end to end, making sure that it's usable and trusted.
Yeah, I agree. So, David, I'm sorry that I changed your name. David, what does Watson data help bridge gaps across sources and teams?
So what's the next data is that it acts like as a bridge across those sources and teams, and it
Mhm.
does this by providing the data lakehouse architecture, which enables seamless access to that data, whether it be structured or unstructured, across all your environments, whether hybrid or multi-cloud. Um, it supports open formats and integrates with existing data warehouses, lakes, and governance tools. This allows teams to collaborate without being sort of constrained by silo systems, as we've been mentioning, or proprietary platforms. Decentralized data access and enabling federated querying. What's the next data empowers those data scientists, those engineers, those analysts to work with a common foundation. That way, accelerating the AI development while maintaining some compliance and data integrity.
Good, good. So, as you can see, these three pillars, quality, accessibility, and integration, separate stall pilots from AI that scales. To help, we build an AI readiness self assessment that scores where you stand across these areas and pinpoints where to focus next. We'll share that at the end of the session today. Now that the framework is on the table, let's open the discussion to hear more real world perspectives from our guest speakers. And we covered the framework now. Let's ground it and with real outcomes from clients. Maybe one story, one mistake to avoid, and one metric to watch. So, Tyler, can you share a quick client story where improving data quality changed an AI outcome? What was the before? What was the after? And a rough timeline?
Yes. So just off the top of my head, we have one of the companies that utilizes DataBand, which is a data observability tool. And what they used DataBand for was to proactively monitor their data to help track any type of data drift over time into their machine learning and AI systems. So even though this tool wasn't exactly improving the data quality, but it was there to monitor and catch bad data before it enters into those models or machine learning. Overall, just um, improving the output of those machine learning and AI systems.
Mm,
Um, yeah.
perfect. Okay. So, David, for access and governance, we talked about a little bit about integration and governance, but for access and governance, what specific controls or patterns, for example, data product catalog, row column level security, etc. Um, what of those consistently unlocks speed and compliance for Watson data, Watson X data deployments?
Yes, so as you mentioned, a data pro catalog is that control pattern that most consistently unlocks that speed through Watsonx and for those Watsonx data deployments. And it does this by enabling teams to discover, access, and govern assets through a standardized metadata-rich interface. This pattern is especially effective when organizations need to, how you say, to scale AI across while maintaining clarity around who owns that data and what locations. We use those user policies and the lineage of that data as well. Um,
Mhm,
this allows the modular data sharing and reuse,
mhm.
and thus also reduces the duplication and accelerating onboarding for new users or those models.
Nice. Okay, good. And now, talking about architecture tactic, David. No, sorry. We already talked about architecture tactic. Talking about integration pattern. Sorry, Tyler. Have you seen one integration pattern that you see working across business units?
Yeah, and it's been around, but it's just real time data ingestion. Especially in the world of AI now, you want that data to be up to date um, for you to run any analysis or any type of generated outputs. You want it to be up to date.
And so the pattern for integration would be a real time ETL or a real time API consulting changes, things like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, Dave, um, one way What's next data slots into that pattern without heavy refactoring. Do you have an example?
Yeah. So the real-time data ingestion that Taylor just mentioned is a capability of string sets within Watsonx.data, and this
Mm,
allows for pretty much near instant analytics and supporting critical use cases like IoT, log analysis, and fraud detection.
mhm,
Along with that real-time data ingestion, the string sets also offer adaptive schema handling, integrated monitoring, hybrid source connectivity, and
mhm.
allows for real-time enrichment of that data transformation.
Yeah, yeah. So, David, talking about common mistakes to avoid, what's the most expensive mistake you've seen in data readiness?
So the most expensive mistake we've seen is building AI models before data is clean, is integrated, and is governed, leading to rework, poor outcomes, and wasted investment.
Hmm, nice. And how can we avoid this, Tyler? How can teams avoid this type of mistakes?
Yeah, and to avoid it, it's really to prioritize a data readiness early by establishing a data governance system. So this is investing in scalable integration pipelines and aligning those cross-functional teams around that shared data
Hmm.
that's been standardized and policy accesses
Yeah,
are created. So the right
yeah.
person gets the right data.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that this whole presentation has been about around that, right? Be have your data clean, have your data available, and be ready with integrations to make sure that you have everything in place. David, can you name one KPI that you will suggest to track for 1 month
Yep.
that predicts success by month six?
So for month one, the KPI that we recommend to track is percentage of critical data sources that have successfully been ingested into a centralized platform, which validates that schema and the metadata.
Mhm.
This early ingestion and schema alignment will indicate strong foundational readiness, and that enables the data to be scalable and
Mhm.
those pipelines as well. And
Mhm.
that will allow for consistent governance and a
Mhm.
faster model of AI development downstream. And that will predict by month six should be a prediction of success.
Mhm. Perfect. And Tyler, um, one leading indicator you like for the business side, adoption throughput, that you can recommend.
Yeah, and from the business side, I think one of the leading indicators is just the number of active users that are accessing those curated datas, the sets or dashboards. I think it's a great signal of adoption and relevance that to show that it's not just the tech that's working, but it's the people are actually using
Yeah.
the data to make those decisions.
Yeah. And I think that the main takeaway from this conversation is choose a pattern, measure early, and remove bottlenecks. With that, uh, let's move to the maturity stage and roadmap. Um, Thank you, Taylor and David. Those insights are making a clear idea of what needs to be done and what that data readiness means. Is it's a journey. It's not a switch that you can turn on and off. You need to make sure that your data is not siloed, is connected. You can trust it, and is strategic to your initiative. Now, when you start a project, an AI project, we recommend that you do these four steps: assess your current state, make a benchmark of your quality, understand the accessibility, the integration, um, and you can use our readiness checklist for this. Then you can go and close the gaps, deliberately go and address governance, the process, or the technical integration uh, where they block processes. Then you prioritize a use case, choosing a work that both have high impact and high feasibility, so you can have a big win when you finish your pilot and then move to implementation. And then define a pilot that scales. So prove value in one area, capture the lessons, learn from them, and then as you standardize the process, you can expand across business units. The aim of the process is not perfection, but is getting to a maturity level where your organization can have different type of AI pilots with the same standard, with the same data quality, with the same integration, with the same governance, etc. So, thank you again, Tyler and David, for joining us today. If there's one message that you would like to leave to our audience, what will that be, Tyler?
Um, One message I would say is that I know that AI is, very brand new and a lot of people are maybe a little scared to start their journey. Um, but you really have to start. AI, this is kind of the beginning that a lot of enterprise companies are incorporating AI. So you want to be an early adopter. You want to go through some of the mistakes. Hopefully, they're not detrimental, but it's a learning process. And once you really have control over that data and how to use your data, you'll definitely have a successful AI application within your company.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I think that AI success starts with data. Without strong data foundation, AI is just experimentation, to be honest. And many companies are doing experimentation right now. And you can build trusted, scalable solutions that deliver real data, real value business to through AI. Um, so there are three practical next steps that you can take right now. You can complete a AI readiness self assessment to see where your um organization stands. That assessment not only covers data, it also covers talent, processes, and governance. And you can use a use case prioritization matrix where you can focus on projects that have both high impact, high feasibility today. And the third step is to book an AI data readiness session. Me, my team, Tyler, and Dave can get together with you and help you identify those use cases, map a near term roadmap for you, and help you on your AI journey. So thank you all for your assistance. Um, I appreciate the time and appreciate Tyler and David for being here today. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.